It's that time of year again. My team is out of the playoffs, so I felt like it was the right time to predict the NFL awards. But let's not dwell on the fact that the Eagles lost. Let's go right into my defensive rookie of the year pick. It's Carson Schwessinger. I mean, he's been dominant. I'm pretty sure, started pretty much every single game. 2 picks, 65 total solo tackles, and 2.5 sacks. And honestly, the only other main guys that I could see getting it would be, of course, Abdul Carter, who had 43 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. I think it's clear. I've looked everywhere. I think Schwessinger is the clear number 1. And yeah, I think that's a pretty easy one, but it'll get more interesting very soon. Now for Offensive Rookie of the Year, this is honestly a little bit more competitive. There's some very good players. Of course, Ted McMillan, Emeka Egbuka had a very strong first half of the season that has pretty much carried him to at least, obviously, placing for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Luther Burden has been very good. Harold Fannin, I love Harold Fannin. Obviously, he's tight end, so I don't think he's going to get it, but he was still very good. But out of all of them, I think it will end up being a tight race between Ted McMillan and Emeka Egbuka. Ted had 4 more receptions, 8 less yards, 0.9 less yards per reception, and 1 more touchdown. I just think he's been more consistent overall. I think there's a great case for Egbuka. He was dominant and the clear favorite at the beginning half of the season, but he just stopped. And Ted McMillan, he's just been consistent. I think that it doesn't feel like something that would happen where you're going to be really, really good for a first half of the season, and then everybody catches up to you, but can't necessarily put themselves ahead of you in terms of, an award race. So I think it's definitely going to be Ted McMillan. And I'm sure it also helps that the Panthers made the playoffs over the Buccaneers, but I digress. Next will be Protector of the Year. And I've seen a couple different options here. Obviously, this is the second or third or first year where they're doing Protector of the Year. It'll be interesting, and honestly, I don't really know how to figure this out. I think my main strategy is kind of looking at PFF, and it's very clearly Penei Sewell is just by far and away the best lineman. I think it'll definitely be close. I saw somebody put Aaron Brewer, the Dolphins center, who's, according to PFF, not even the best center in the league. I think it'll probably be going to Penei Sewell, Tristan Wirfs, or Trent Williams. Quinn Miners will definitely be up there. Shout out UW Whitewater. But I'm just going to go with the highest. And plus, it's not even really close who is the best lineman on PFF this year. So I'm going to go with Penei Sewell for Protector of the Year. Next, for probably, in my opinion, always the most difficult, at least consistently difficult award to predict, and that is Comeback Player of the Year. I've seen quite a few different options. I've seen, of course, Aiden Hutchinson, Chris Olave. Christian McCaffrey looks to be the betting favorite. Trevor Lawrence has an argument. I haven't seen Phillip Rivers up there, which obviously is not going to happen, but he's up there. And my top 3 would probably have to be Hutch, Chris Olave, and Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson coming off of an incredibly bad leg injury and then putting up 14.5 sacks, 4th most in the league. 54 combined tackles, of course. Second team All-Pro, 35 quarterback hits. He absolutely came back, but also, obviously this was expected. If he didn't do this, that would be a little weird, but he's still coming back from that type of injury is incredibly impressive, especially putting up those types of numbers. Next, I think is an interesting one. This is what one of the guys on ESPN had, Chris Olave, which I think he has a very interesting case, as he has obviously dealt with a lot of injuries. He was not good last year. Obviously, injuries were a big part of that, and he ended with the 7th most receptions, 8th most yards, 9th most touchdowns, and made a second team All-Pro, no Pro Bowl as well, which is crazy. And he had a sneaky good year as, honestly, statistically a top 10 receiver, at least this year, maybe not overall, but definitely he's up there. And then, of course, Christian McCaffrey, coming off of injuries and just a bad 49ers season last year, to second in yards per scrimmage, 17 total touchdowns, the far and away most touches with 413. He had 900 receiving yards and 1,200 rushing yards. Obviously, first team All-Pro. And again, coming off of 2 very bad injuries last year that kept him out for damn near the whole season. to being in contention for Offensive Player of the Year. Very, very impressive, and I think that it is going to be Christian McCaffrey. Just how dominant he has been. Honestly, one of the sneakier guys, like, the conversation is about James Cook. It's been about Jonathan Taylor. It's always going to be about Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously JSN and Puka. He's really one of the best offensive players in the league, especially this year, just doing everything. And I think he's going to win Comeback Player of the Year and potentially Offensive Player of the Year, but we'll get to that. And now for Coach of the Year. This is a heavily contested race here with a lot of guys that have taken bad teams, made them very, very good. Of course, Mike Vrabel taking the Patriots to the 2 seed. Mike McDonald taking the Seahawks to, were they a playoff team last year? I forget. But basically a playoff team to the best team in the NFC. And then Ben Johnson, of course, doing what he did with the Bears instantly in year 1. Proving that he is not the sole reason, obviously, but a very big reason why they're doing so well. And of course, Liam Cohen, who took a very struggling and desperate Jaguars team, gave them a fantastic mentality, brought them to the wild card as the 3rd seed, unfortunately lost. But I think it has to be Mike Vrabel. It'll be interesting to see how, it's somewhat close, but Mike Vrabel took Drake Drake, or whatever the hell, and made him top 2 for MVP, took definitely high potential defense and made him very good. I think he's going to be awarded for this because of their record. Like, obviously they had the easiest schedule in the goddamn NFL, basically, and they've won 1 playoff game so far, but 14 wins. That is insane, and it's very difficult to do no matter what in the NFL, no matter what your schedule is. And taking a team that I predicted was going to have 6 wins and giving him 14, I think he has to be it. But I could definitely see an argument for a lot of other guys as well. I think it'll be Mike Vrabel, though. Now to the big 3, starting with Depoy, and it's not even going to be close, obviously. It is Myles Garrett. I think definitely Will Anderson puts up a good fight, but obviously it's just... It's not close. Myles Garrett, I don't think you could break a sack record and not win DPOI. It's almost always going to go to a defensive lineman, and this defensive lineman just so happens to have had one of, if not the best seasons of all time. So next is Offensive Player of the Year, and I think this is a very, very interesting category. I think one of the most competitive. I think probably... he might be in the top 5 just for funsies, but Trey McBride obviously had a fantastic season as a tight end, 1,200 scrimmage yards, 11 total touchdowns. He had a fantastic season, far and away the best tight end. I don't think they're going to give it to a tight end, especially with what we've had. He has an argument, but I think it's really these top 4 guys: Puka Nacua, JSN, James Cook, top 5, James Cook, CMC, and Bijan Robinson that are going to make it very interesting. Jonathan Taylor, I think, potentially could also be in the conversation with his 20 touchdowns, which was 2 more than the next guy. I think Jonathan Taylor, he just tailed off at the end. It was the Colts failing. I don't think he's going to get it, so I'm just going to ignore him for now. But go Badgers. For the wide receivers, JSN versus Puka Nacua, it's an unbelievably tight race. They finished within 80, 70 yards, something like that, between each other, both 1,700. Puka obviously had 129 catches, which is nuts. Puka did have slightly more yards per game, but JSN also had more yards per reception and more yards per touch. Total touchdowns, it's 10 and 11 for JSN and Puka. It doesn't get much more tight than that. And then for the rest of the running backs, obviously James Cook leading in rushing, but I don't think he can really be a part of the conversation, if I'm being honest. Just compared to Bijan and CMC with what they did. Bijan obviously only 11 touchdowns, way more scrimmage yards, but CMC, again, I already talked about him. 2,100 scrimmage yards, 17 touchdowns, 413 touches is unbelievable, especially with 5.1 yards per touch, which is obviously worse than Bijan, but still. I think it's really the tightest race. It could go any of these 4 ways, but I'm going to eliminate Bijan because he only had 11 total touchdowns. I'm going to eliminate Puka because I think that JSN would just be higher than him anyway. And then I'm going to eliminate Christian McCaffrey. I potentially think that he deserves it, but I think that Puka Nacua, I mean, everybody knows about what Puka Nacua has done. Christian McCaffrey, he's just, everybody knows he has a bunch of touches, and I think that's just not going to impress people as much. His 17 touchdowns is not going to impress as much as JSN 14.5 yards per touch. And obviously most receiving yards in Seahawks history. So I do think it's going to go to JSN. I think genuinely it could go to Puka, JSN, Bijan, or CMC. And then, of course, quarterback of the year, best quarterback, also known as the MVP award. And the two contenders are Stafford and May, which makes a lot of sense. Both of them are top two by far for passer rating at 113 for May and 109 for Stafford. Obviously, Stafford having the best year of his goddamn career, and May with the cupcake schedule, as I said. But still, highest completion percentage in the league for May. 31 touchdowns, same amount of picks as Stafford with 8, higher QBR and passer rating, best in the league for both of those as well. But Stafford has 400 more yards, 15 more touchdowns. And I think if they're going to throw somebody else into the conversation, it would have to be probably Josh Allen, JSN, and probably CMC as well. I think statistically, it's not even close. I think it's Matthew Stafford. But then do you think about, MVP, I don't think the Rams or the Patriots are as good, even close, without Stafford or May. And that's the tough thing with this. I think MVP should be about most valuable. It should not be about statistics, but it's almost entirely about statistics. It's very tough. But I think that Matthew Stafford has the better stats, and it's not really close. The only things he's not maybe the best at is completion percentage, QBR, and passer rating. But he still had 15 more touchdowns, same amount of picks, and 400 more yards. I don't think it's close. I think it'll be Stafford, which I think is more than fair. He's had a fantastic year. So I think my predictions are hopefully going to be correct. I hope. I mean, who knows? This is all I have now that the Eagles are out. So thank you so much for watching if you did. I'll see you next time. See ya.